Afternoon, folks. How's everybody doing today? It a little warm out here, 105. So I told you, for some reason, I just have last couple of months massive soul cravings. I don't eat a balanced diet, and I don't eat a lot of processed food. Try to stay relatively healthy. Getting kind of crusty in my age, and start watching that shit out. There's ice cubes in it. You know it ain't beer. I thought we would tear through some headlines today because there are some interesting ones that are making my head hurt on a regular basis. Let's start off with, without a doubt, one of the most, I have nothing else to complain about, so I'm going to invent something new because I've been entirely left out of the Black Lives Matter movement. That's right, Shaun King, aka Talcum X, race activist. He's a race activist now. They call him Talcum X because he's a white guy who's pretending to be black. I thought that was cultural appropriation to those people, but he makes a lot of money doing it. I saw that movie with C. Thomas Howell back in like the 80s, and it was dumb then, but this guy's turning some coin. He's doing better than I am. Tear them down. Race activist Shaun King calls for the removal of all statues, murals, and stained glass windows of white Jesus and his European mother. Now, I want to say it was Lenin who said religion was the opiate of the masses, but it could have been Marx, so for all I know, it could have been Trotsky. I don't actually remember. But it also comes up in that rules to radicals post that you see all the time about destroying the religious institutions. The religious institutions being the nucleus of the family, or they used to be. Well, Sean got blown by the whole Rayshard, whatever his name is, that burned the Wendy's down, and George Floyd, who got choked out to death, which I still think is a bullshit story. I'm not saying the Illuminati wouldn't murder their own. But when you have that 33rd level Mason tattoo on your chest of the double-headed eagle, nothing stinks about that. He has hair, he doesn't have hair. Telling you folks, he's sitting there sipping pito coladas with Jeffrey Epstein in Haifa somewhere. Shaun King is a moron. Talcum X is quite upset that he's not cashing in on this whole thing. You don't see him on any of the shows, right? Nobody's calling him up. Or Rachel Dolezal. Yeah, I self-identify as black. You're a white woman. Yes, but I self-identify as black. Okay. These people are all Fruit Loops. But attacking the church is the next step. They have to. It's in their playbook. And if you sit down and you look at their playbook, they outline it for you. You should know these things. Nobody should be taking Shaun King seriously, though, although nobody should have ever taken him seriously. But somebody who probably does take him seriously, I'm surprised they're not dating, although maybe Sean's gay. I don't know. They don't really give a shit. AOC. Latinos are black. We have to have conversations about colorism. Now, you knew she grew up in a neighborhood of privilege by that statement alone. That and the fact that she has nothing else going on, and she's currently getting her ass handed to her by another woman of color. I think she's Hispanic or she's Italian and she married Hispanic. It doesn't really matter. And she's being primaried for her seat because she's AOC. How dare you? Look at all the good she's done for New York City since she got in. Her name recognition. I might have met a Latino or two in my time. Puerto Ricans, Mexicans. I worked with Salvadorians, Guatemalans, Nicaraguans. They're like everybody else. Some of them don't like black people. Some of them don't give a shit. It is what it is. Racism is endemic to your DNA structure. It's always a my tribe thing, unless you can get above that. But for the most part, the reason it's a my tribe thing is because I want to take care of my people. Throwing it out there. Audio emerges of Jimmy Kimmel allegedly using the N-word. Do you remember when he dressed up as Karl Malone and did that horrible, I Karl Malone? I'm surprised Karl Malone didn't pound him into the fucking sand. He does that horrible impersonation of Karl Malone, man. I don't think Karl was very happy, because he made him come off as very dumb. On anniversary of Korean War, North Korea threatens to end America. There's somebody else who's not getting any attention and is unhappy. Tennessee's largest newspaper. There are still newspapers? Accidentally prints paid advertisement claiming nuclear war was coming to Tennessee. While there are still newspapers, I'm just pretty much guessing that there aren't any editors anymore or proofreaders. The Tennessean is investigating how a paid advertisement for a fringe religious group was published on Sunday in violation of the newspaper's long-established standards. Because nobody checks. How many times have I tried to read a headline off the fucking internet and I'm just like, what, Grammarly, right? And I'm not even backing the product. I don't use the product. But it's there so you people could write a legible sentence. Another day, another shooting in Chop. At least one person was shot Sunday night inside Seattle's autonomous protest zone. You notice they changed that up from we're no longer part of America, because if you're not part of America, then you don't get to have American benefits. What do you mean? Oh, yeah, no, we'll just be... We need to make this thing go away, but let's face it, the entire state of Washington is fucked, and Seattle and Portland are run by morons that were elected by simpletons? So what is that? 3, 4 people? One of them bled out because the ambulance wouldn't go in without the cop showing up. I don't blame them. I wouldn't go in either. Apple kisses China's ass by removing unapproved apps. LA County confirms what President Trump has said all along. Numbers are striking because of testing increases. No shit. The more people you test, the more people you're going to see were exposed, and the more asymptomatic cases you're going to find. I did it last night. 150,000 new cases. Well, A, they sat on the numbers. B, how many people were sick? How many people died? They don't tell you that either. Just tested positive. And these tests aren't even that freaking reliable. If you've ever had a flu shot, if you've ever had the common cold, if you've ever had, and there is a laundry list of things that if you have ever had, are going to pop positive anyway. Still relatively new. They still don't have it down right. New Jersey is the least patriotic state in America. Doesn't surprise me at all. I have no idea why people live there. You know, you don't have to write jokes for this headline. They write themselves. 104 shot and 14 killed in Chicago weekend violence. Other defund the police target cities see major gun crime incidents. What was this weekend? In what neighborhood do you think the majority of this violence happened? What holiday isn't really going to be settled there with over a 75%, 75% example of single-parent households where the mother marries the government for the welfare check? The sad part is the youngest victim of this weekend's violence was just 3 years old. The 3-year-old boy was fatally wounded when someone opened fire at his father. Well, you see, now there you go, right there. He had a father. While they were driving in Chicago's Austin neighborhood. The toddler, identified as McKay James, was struck in the back about 6:25 p.m. when someone in a blue Honda pulled behind a black SUV the boy's 27-year-old dad was driving. While it's nice that this kid has a dad, I don't know what any of the other circumstances are. Usually these aren't that random. People just don't open fire. Because let's face it, it's the south side of Chicago and there's an awful lot of shady shit and gang affiliations down there. Is what it is. Black Lives Matter protester charged with attempted murder after shooting driver in the head. Black Lives Matter protester was arrested last month after he shot a driver in the head during a George Floyd protest in Alamosa, Colorado. Protester and attorney James Marshall was charged with attempted murder after he pulled a gun from his pocket and shot a driver in a pickup truck at an intersection in town. He was a fucking lawyer, and this is not the first time we've seen this. This is, again, just another example of what's going on in the world. Okay? He's an attorney. He knew exactly what he was doing. At some point in law school, they covered attempted murder. Is he going to claim it wasn't premeditated? Doesn't matter. You shot somebody in the fucking head. The two idiots that firebombed the fucking police vehicle in New York. Lawyers, too. They were also of color, and they were also angry about George Floyd. Although, I doubt any one of the three of them can tell you anything about George. I know more about George than they do. The entire incident was caught on a security camera. If you want to see the tape, go over to my Minds page. HUHWHDFKR. Minds.com. It's up on there. Okay, we did Chicago. Ignored by the media. Juneteenth, the stupidest name, by the way. Celebration turns bloody in Charlotte. 2 dead, 9 shot, 5 hit by vehicles. And partiers jumped on the backs of the responding firefighters. I don't know what to tell you, folks. I mean, we really do need to stop pulling the warning labels off everything. Too many of these people are making it out of childhood and into maturity, and then they've learned nothing on that journey. If you really and honestly, truly believe that there is nothing going on here, we are not being attacked by outside forces. This is a completely natural grassroots event, and it's not being fueled by people who hate America and want to see America brought down. Specifically, people who have said it was their life's work to make this happen. Then you need to go back to sleep. You also need to not vote, because you're not paying attention. You're still in the Mephiles thing, and you still believe the bullshit. So when you see Santa Claus and the Easter Bunny, tell him I said what's up. Okay? And tell Santa no more coal. The carbon footprint tax is fucking killing me. It happened again. New Jersey Republicans received mail-in ballots with only Democrat choices. An accident. I mean, sure, it's the second time it's happened, but it's still an accident. Once is an accident, twice is a pattern. I don't know what to tell you, folks. These people have been indoctrinated by the Marxists in your education institutions. The people who took the job to educate the next generation were all turned. This is the result of what's going on here. Throwing it out there. But you know what? If you look at the patterns, read the patterns, take a little time to pay attention. I know it's racist to make you think that you should actually use your brain and notice things, but you should. Other nations are now pivoting towards the U.S. The plan is working. Yes, it is. And this is why China and India are rattling sabers at each other. China understands exactly how fucked they are if India takes their slave labor market. Well, I don't know if it's slave labor in India, because India is technically a free country and China's communist, where people are property. But India has a lot of people that'll work for the same, if not less, than in China. A couple of years back, I heard if you were pulling 22.5 in India, you were a very wealthy man. Very wealthy. That was, it was a doc I was watching on call centers. And so I told you, I'm a geek. I watch all kinds of weird shit. But it was a doc on call centers and why all the call centers were centered in India. Because it was cheaper. Which is why I get, hello, my name is Dave, on the phone. And I'm like, okay, Dave, is that short for like Devadip or... Not hating on you, just saying, can I get the one whose English is a little better than yours? I had to go back and redo some credits, and one of them was algebra, and I hate math because I am horrible at it. There's a language I do not speak well, and I had an Indian teacher, and I transferred out of the class immediately. Her accent was so thick you could have cut curry with it. Now they're going after America's greatest generation, angry socialists, and yes, folks, they are socialists. Vandalize World War II War Memorial. Shoot them. Looters destroy Ohio woman's cupcake shop. Then the people threaten her life for cooperating with the police. That's straight up brown shirt tactics right there. Berlin authorities placed children with pedophiles for 30 years in bizarre experiment. It's not a bizarre experiment. People worship fucking Satan. They are evil. Trump to cut legal immigration by 525,000 by suspending 5 classes of work visas. The nerve. How can he do that? He hates brown people. You got 30 million Americans out of fucking work. How about you put them to work first? Okay? Take care of my tribe before you take care of somebody else's. But my feelies, I don't give a foot. I don't give a rat's ass. How would you like to feel? How would you like my feelies, my footsies in your assies? Idiots, morons. Hate hoax? DOJ investigating news found in black NASCAR driver's garage stall. Because there's nothing else in the news, so let's stir something else up. Antifa planning flag burning at Gettysburg on July 4th. They need to stop that before it ever freaking starts. Just saying. This is the time when we could really go for like an Altamont 2.0. If anybody who might be patriotic and has a 2-wheel conveyance. Altamont was a Rolling Stones concert in California. And they hired the Hells Angels as security, which went sideways really quick because, you know, surprisingly, Hells Angels didn't like hippies a whole hell of a lot. They were okay with the broads. They just didn't like the guys. And it's like a massacre. They just relentlessly beat people. So I'm not suggesting that the Hells Angels should go there and just beat the piss out of these Antifa pussies who were trying to burn the flags. But I don't think it would be a bad thing if it happened. It would actually do a lot to buoy the morale in America. We're at 19 minutes. We are almost done. It's a communist assault. Black Lives Matter leaders are trained Marxists. We've already covered this. Supporters of socialist Maduro regime behind the removal of statues across the U.S. because if they erase your history, they can write a new one. And my last one, and this one drove me fucking nuts. So, Bill de Blasio, Warren Wilhelm, is a communist. He worked with the Sandinistas. He is a big supporter of these people. He's an actual, real commie piece of shit. The statue of Teddy Roosevelt in front of the Museum of Natural History. Now, if you watch those Ben Stiller movies, Ben Stiller got shit because he said, well, they should replace it with the statue of Robin Williams, who played Teddy Roosevelt in those stupid movies. The statue is Teddy on a horse. Teddy charged up San Juan Hill on horseback with a saber in the air because he's a crazy bastard. I love Teddy Roosevelt. He was fucking American. But he's flanked behind the horse, one on each side. It's an Indian, like a Native American or an Aboriginal or whatever the fuck you want to call him. It's an Indian. And an African. And quite literally shirtless, short hair, like African, like, I don't even want to say slave because we dress slaves. The statue was commissioned after he was dead. Teddy was already dead. They decided they were going to put this statue up, and the meaning behind it was Teddy was a great man. He did a lot for the country. Look, he's leading these people, Indians and blacks, out of the past and the darkness into the bright and shiny new future. That's the whole meaning behind the stupid fucking statue. Nope. Comrade de Blasio says it's got to go because it's offensive. Hey, you know what? At least he's not smelting it down to make fucking whatever the hell commies use it for. But this shit's got to end. Folks, this shit has to fucking stop. It is getting ridiculous. The only good thing about that is everything reaches its breaking point eventually. But if, you know, everybody says the Yellowstone's a super volcano, and when it finally explodes, it's going to take out a large chunk of the country. Yeah, and the problem with volcanoes that don't have any venting, that don't have the ability to blow off steam, the pressure just builds, and then when it goes cataclysmic. We're getting there. We're getting there. The douchebag governor of my state, lovely state of Arizona, told the president he has to wear a mask when he comes here. He's supposed to be here tomorrow, I think. Excuse me? Who are you giving orders to? And last but not least, Gretchen Whitmer wants money from the federal government now. No shit. Told you these fucking comtards. Destroy everything, burn the city to the ground, and then I expect the federal government to pony up and rebuild it because I didn't have any money. I gave all my money away when I was busy making promises to become the democratically elected Democrat. You know what I say? Fuck you. It's twofold, actually. Now that you've burnt down your old neighborhood, you've got nothing else to do. You've already threatened to come to the suburbs. And the suburbs aren't your neighborhood. Suburbs are our neighborhood. People who live in them have a slightly different view than the people who live where you are. A lot of times that view comes from, just a slight cant to the head, something propped up against the shoulder. Not that I would ever call for any kind of violence, because violence is bad. All right, folks, 23:30, we are done. I will catch you tomorrow, but thank you for stopping by. New folks are signed up. Thank you for signing up. Go to my Minds page, or go to Gab. I'm on Parler now. I'm even on fucking Twitter and YouTube, and I'd love to get rid of those, but people won't leave them. Come join us in the new promised land, where censorship isn't nearly as bad. Still there, but not as bad. But you can always just look for Beer and Gear, and that's where all the absolutely atrocious memes get put up. So if you're bored, you can always scroll backwards and steal the memes that I steal from other people to make you happy. I feel sorry, but Skol, my friends, I have to toast you with fruit tea. It's just wrong. But it was nice of you to come by. Have a good one. Adios.